Hello everyone, my name is Daphne Iking, and on the first episode of my show Daphne, I decided to kickstart it with a topic that has been bugging me for yonks. And it's not just been bugging me per se, but also family and friends who have been complaining endlessly about it. You see, I've been a resident of PJ for the past 8 years or so, and I've noticed that the traffic has gone from bad to worse. What are the reasons behind these horrendous jams, and what can we do to reduce the congestion? Clad with just 2 GoPros, a Mark II, and a whole lot of patience, my co-producer, husband Joe and I decided to brave the traffic on our first assignment. We live somewhere between Bandar Utama and Kota Damansara. Now along this stretch, you can see rapid development going on for the Mass Rapid Transit Project, or the MRT. You know, I'm actually looking forward to the day that the MRT project is completed, because for starters, no more of this noise, and of course, no more of this eyesore. Plus, there's a plus. Plus, I'm actually looking forward to the fact that I will have peace of mind knowing that my parents who come and visit us from Sabah from time to time will have a safer option of traveling when they're here in KL, because they refuse to drive. They refuse. They said that the traffic is mad and it's so intimidating for them, and I can't blame them, to be honest. Anyway, until that happens, until the day the MRT project is completed, unfortunately, motorists like myself will have to face severe traffic jams and congestions in areas that the MRT is being built.
Bila during construction, congested tu pasti akan berlaku lah. Contohnya macam sekarang ni pembinaan MRT. Jadinya laluan dari Kota Damansara ke Mutiara Damansara melalui Persian Surian, sekarang ni memang dia punya jam tu memang teruk lah.
That whole part where there's the MRT being built up and everything, understandably they say to us, minta maaf kerana gangguan and everything, and that we have to bear it for the next 2-3 years. But honestly, it's come to the point where it's become unbearable for a lot of people.
Amir Razak, the Strategic Communications and Public Relations Director for MRT Core, grants us an interview to talk more about this proposed 3-line MRT system in KL.
The MRT is a project which will form the backbone of the public transportation system in Klang Valley and Kuala Lumpur. It's urban rail based, which means that you can carry many people at one time, in 1 hour, in one direction. Cars should be reduced, people's dependency on private cars will be reduced as well. So in short, the short answer is we want to reduce congestion in Kuala Lumpur, which is something you are very familiar with.
The MRT will comprise of 2 northeast-southwest radial lines and 1 circle line looping around Kuala Lumpur city. The first MRT line is the 51-kilometre Sungai Buloh to Kajang line, which includes a 9.5-kilometre underground section, and this line will have 31 stations, of which 7 will be underground. I spoke to 2 PJ residents, Chan and Frankie, at a Residents Association meeting held in Kota Damansara recently. They too were clearly not happy with the traffic congestion and felt that a lot needs to be done about our public transportation system.
The MRT actually should have been built a long time ago.
Amir explains.
If you ask any Malaysian, they'll agree that this is late. We are probably 20 years behind, in the sense that we should have started building this a long time ago, planned it a long time ago. The story goes that Singapore left us in '65. They talked about it in the coffee shops. In the 70s, they talked about it in Parliament, and in the 80s, they built it. They actually built it, and then they now have more than 9 lines.
Let's talk about Singaporeans. They are the ones who really use their public transportation. Do you think Malaysia will ever achieve that?
No, if you were to plan and implement a system that is very efficient, supported by very efficient bus services, to move the people from their houses directly to the MRT station instead of them having to drive there, and more often than not you can't find a parking space.
People will take public transport if it serves them. If they want to go to that direction and it meets their route of where they stay, they will. So what we need to do, one, is ensure that number one, The line itself will pass through the populated areas, which are not served by rail at the moment. All right, that's number one. But number two, and probably more important, is the feeder bus service. Our concept of a feeder bus is not the one that stops in Taman Tun just to go to, say, section 20. It serves the whole Taman Tun area. It goes into Mount Fuad, it goes into Openg, it goes into Burhanuddin, deposits the passengers at the station. Then it goes to Damansara Utama, Damansara Kim, Damansara, and comes out and puts back the passengers in the station. LRT is often criticized because they do not have enough parking bays. But what we're doing is we're doing multi-story car parks. In stations where we are outside the city centre, we will have multi-story park and ride, or MSPRs. The ones at both ends, which is in Sungai Buloh and Kajang, will have about 1,500 parking bays. The ones in the middle will have anything between 200 to 500 parking bays, depending on the size of land that we have. But at the moment, we have about 15 park and rides planned along the 51-kilometre alignment. Out of the 31 stations, so 15 will have park and ride.
The MRT folks seem pretty confident with their game plan. But, well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Now, till that happens, Azrul points out a deeper problem with us Malaysians.
Malaysians are addicted to their cars. Like, seriously, you know. And I think just as how you deal with addiction, the first step to dealing with is to admit that we have an addiction. And this problem here is that we keep building highways, we keep building more roads, but the fact of the matter is that 250,000 new cars are registered every year in Malaysia. Those cars have got to go somewhere. And for a lot of people who are travelling through PJ, the 250,000 seems to be in PJ somehow. So I think one of the things we need to do, first of all, is to encourage Malaysians to support public transport.
So you see, I'm not the only one feeling stressed and frustrated with the traffic conditions here in Klang Valley. No, sorry, there's many other people there who are just as frustrated. So, on my next episode, I hope to dig deeper into finding out more answers from relevant associations, developers, man on the streets. Basically, I want to find answers on how we can tackle this problem and to reduce traffic congestion once and for all. Okay? Okay.